We go on like a journey throughout, I hope you feel, the journey we go. Because with Doubtful, it's like I'm letting you know right off bat that I don't have that vulnerability, even from the way that the visual looks. Everybody is unclothed, but me and my guy, we're completely clothed. And then you looking at the streets and you seeing it's kind of volatile and it's kind of tumultuous, the relationships that we're seeing. But at the same time, love is not perfect. Love, nobody said that love, didn't involve pain, and it didn't involve forgiveness, it didn't involve compassion. I think that is the whole gag on love, is that it is all those things. And that's what makes it so awesome, because it's a choice at that point. You're choosing to love and accept somebody. And when you don't love all the way, love or understand and accept yourself, it's really hard for you to kind of have that vulnerable place. Or even if you're not sure of exactly where you're coming from, it's hard for you to go to that vulnerable place and, take on that chance of what love is. So ultimately what I'm saying in that video is that that's not the place I'm in, or at that point that was not the place that I was in. Who knows what the point I'm at now. But no, it's just to display that this is, at the time and the place and the person that I was thinking of when we were creating this record, that's what I was realizing about myself, is that as much as I think that I'm ready for love and ready for these things, I'm ultimately not, because I'm not ready to be vulnerable with somebody and really allow them to penetrate me. So the second song is Got Me Fucked Up. And Got Me Fucked Up is definitely about a situation with me and a dude. And I feel like it is not exclusive to just me. It's to everybody, because, you always be like, I got my stuff going on. Like, I'm a nice young lady, this, that, and the third. Why these dudes out here acting foolish? And it's like, girl, they just got you fucked up. Like, and it has nothing to do with you. I always have these conversations with my mom about how it's like, why does somebody do this to me? And my mom always tells me, it's not a personal thing. This is not personal. People are just growing and learning themselves. But I think every young person can relate, and everybody, period, in general, guy or girl, can relate to feeling like, damn, this person really don't know who they step into like this and what type of value I have. Like, they got me fucked up. And so I wanted to also display a kind of lighthearted funness to the visual, and also, kick it back to the 70s, get a little fun 70s style. But I really wanted that to be light, because the song is such a read. I wanted it to be a fun moment with, like, me and my girls, because that's how it would be. You go to your girls like, girl, nigga, running game. Shawty, I'm a 22-year-old boss. Like, you'll go in on somebody with your homegirls. So that's really what I wanted to that visual to represent. Track 3 is probably my favorite. I go back and forth. It's hard to pick and choose your favorite baby, because they all your babies. But Jealous, first of all, every girl know what it's like to really want to come at somebody, but be like, you know what, you glad I'm cute, and you glad I got something going for me, or else I really, really, really would have came for your ass. And so that's what this record is about. But at the same time, it also has a backdrop of where I'm from, because that's what it's telling, is a story of where I come from. When a situation like this go down, this how I would handle it. But you know what, I'm better than I used to be. So I really wanted to show my world, Chicago, where I grew up, my neighborhood, Robbins, Illinois, and really represent what that means to me, because that is such a major part of whom I am. And I feel like why people see my brand the way that they do. I feel like so often, you can look at it from a very shallow point of view, just because that's normally what we do. We look at an entertainer, and this is what I see and this is what I think. But we never think about the strategy or the things that go behind that, and why they chose the things that they did, and why they did this or that. And for me in my career, it was very important for me to represent where I came from in the most positive way, starting from when we chose Aquila and the Bee, my family and I, that movie that I auditioned for. I didn't always take every role that I was to audition for or was offered to me. And that was because I really, really wanted to make sure that I was able to stand behind something and be proud of it. And so for Jealous, I really wanted to represent why I made those decisions in my overall career. Even though this may be one of the first times you're hearing of my music, or maybe you've been a long-time music fan of me, or maybe you primarily know me from my acting, you're going to understand definitely in this song why community and the kids mean so much to me. Track 4, Pressure. So going back to Doubtful, Doubtful is a moment where it's kind of like, it's like the bluff, right? I think a lot of times I felt like in my relationships before, I would be the kind of person that's like, oh, he's a fuck nigga, at the end of the day, so that's not me. And I would always be able to kind of like hide and shield my real level of openness, because I knew that this person wasn't real anyway. And so I would always be able to kind of push it off on them, because they're gonna mess up before I do. They're not gonna be anybody worth trusting, so no reason for me to have to trust them. And then pressure is more so representing the other side of like, what happens when you do meet somebody that is worth trusting, and you then do have to deal with all the reasons as to why you chose all those other people to hide whatever it is you're hiding. What is it you didn't want to open up about? And so pressure is really talking about like that pressure, like somebody putting that pressure on you to the point where you're feeling like you do want to take that extra step to open up and to become this person that you never thought you. Why am I thinking about compromising? Why am I thinking about staying up an extra hour to get this conversation finished? Why am I thinking about going here or there to spend time with you, or you come here to spend time with me? Like, it really talks about what it means when you are ready to grow and it's time to, and how you deal with it. If you're gonna go for that step or you're gonna keep living in fear type of thing. Oh, track 5, hands free. That, man, I love hands free because I love to dance. So I love how we have, it's very got that island feel to it, but it's also very throwback still at the same time. I really feel like that influence is definitely throughout the whole EP. Definitely kind of give you that old school 90s type of vibe. But with hands free, the visual, I remember I was in New York shooting a movie called Pimp, and I was going through a lot, like as far as self-reflection and also cultural consciousness, and just thinking about all the things that's been going on with the African American community, with police brutality and stuff like that. And I was just thinking about, there's more to the Black person than just the African American story. There's also years and years and years and years of, the African people being kings and queens. And there are whole stories about, Queen Amonirines, who, slayed Alexander the Great, who, not slain him, not killed him, but, she won in battle over him. And so you hear about all these different stories, and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm learning about all this stuff. This is really interesting to me, and it's actually giving me a different perspective of the continued African American story that I know, so well because I'm American. And so it gave me a different type of strength and confidence in myself, in addition to my cultural storyline that I felt is so necessary. I feel is necessary for so much of the generation to know, because a lot of us don't know it. It's not in the books. You only hear one thing. You only hear one thing, and it's only one chapter. And so for me, I was like, this made me feel good to know this. I literally got a tattoo on the back of my neck, Queen of Kush, the Kush Empire, one of the first civilizations in Africa. And I was like, okay, you know what, like, how can I feel like, okay, boom, in this video, it's like I can represent that I was a queen then, and then I can still bring in that energy and that confidence into this life.